Okay, so you weren't originally planning on working this event.
No, I came from corporate America. I worked for AT&T for like 20 plus years, and I got laid off in March of '05. And so I was just kind of taking it easy with my children, hanging out. And my mom called that on my birthday and said, "Hey, your brother needs help at an event. I need you to go to Miami, Oklahoma." And I'm like, "Where is that?" And so I loaded up my children, and I was fortunate my mother-in-law lived in Veneta. And so they stayed with her, and I went and drove up to Miami. My mom said, go to this hotel. It was the Microtel.
Right.
And
I'm pretty sure that was the only one in town then.
No, there was there was two good ones, and then there was two, that looked like they were way down in the gutter of Oklahoma City.
So had Max called your mom?
He called my mom, and she called me and said, "Your brother needs help with this event. You need to go and help your brother."
Okay, Max, so did you need help with this event because the response was overwhelming as to the participants and all the people involved in the bike run?
Yeah, what made you call your mom? What made you call your mom for help?
Because I just don't see you calling your mom.
Well, listen, spur of the moment thing called it. And at the time, my mom and dad, it was the bike run. It was the Buffalo Bike Run. We had billed it as the largest payout in bike run history for the state of Oklahoma. We paid over $100,000. And so this was an event that me and my partner at CEU, Brad White, had created. We had vendors. It was over the top music.
There was a circus.
Cross Canadian Ragweed Circus. And so me and him, we're promoters. This is 2005. Think of all the things in this podcast we've done up until then. 2005, gaming came in Oklahoma City. Gaming came in Oklahoma, and events started happening. Miami, Oklahoma, the idea was to make a destination spot. But anyway, back to...
You guys booked Cross Canadian Ragweed to play this thing?
Foghat. It was great. We even had Evel Knievel there. We had Dennis Rodman. We had Brian Bosworth.
So for the people that don't know,
whose idea was it to bring Dennis Rodman? Well, okay, I get Rodman because he's kind of bike culture, but Bosworth, out of nowhere,
that was
he hadn't even been accepted back. He hadn't even been accepted back into the Sooner family yet.
He was still a biker, And then who else? Lorenzo Lamas, because my mom was flipping out.
He's like a Jay Leno biker. Let's be honest here.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to this. And so me and Brad, we're good at setting things up and, go here, go there. But we had no idea of paperwork, invoicing. This is all new to me. And so my sister travels down. Travels east and gets there.
Hey, first of all, tell people where Miami, Oklahoma is.
Miami, Oklahoma is about, you have to say Miami, because if you say Miami, all the locals will correct you.
Immediately.
And Miami is a beautiful place. Once I went there in 2005.
It's right off of Route 66.
Yeah, straight up Route 66. It's got the old, one of the last of I think there's 13 miles of actual stretch that have that road, the mother road going through there that was original.
And that little bitty town hadn't had anything like you guys.
No. And, so here we come with this town.
Nothing that big since Steve and Cassie Gaines joined Skinner.
We had over 3,000 participants. My responsibility, I planned the bike run. I rode the route and gave it out. We set up, it was
so it was a poker run.
It was a poker run. You had to draw your cards, 5 cards.
So explain what that is, because some people don't understand what that is.
Basically, you drive to a stop, get off your bike, draw a card. On to the next one. If you don't draw then, you can draw at the end. And the winning hand gets the money. And my other job was do all the prize breakdowns.
What was the pricing?
I gave they gave $25,000 cash, or we had a replica motorcycle that was signed by Evel Knievel.
Wow.
Yep.
And a girl,
Did they take the cash or the bike?
They took the bike, but let me tell you something about the whole deal. The deal was it was a girl who won it, and she rode up on the back of a motorcycle and left with her own.
That's awesome.
So just doing the poker.
I
poker
guarantee you that bike is worth more than 25 grand right now.
You know,
Guaranteed.
but that was the poker run.
and
part
that's an event within itself, right there.
But like Deana said, we put a carnival out there. It got wacko with the carnival game.
Why do I feel like Mike Cook was involved?
No, it was nothing about him. But anyway, so here she comes, and she walks right into. Go ahead.
Okay, so had you worked any events at all leading up to this?
No, I was a project manager, so I covered 5 states. I had 75 retail stores and AT&T. So I handled all of that back end policies, procedures, all of that stuff. So when I walked in the hotel, I'm like, hey, I'm looking for Max and Max Baker. And the guy said, down the hall, you will hear them yelling. And I said, okay. So I walk in, and the room is set up. There's girls over here. Max and Brad are yelling, bumping bellies, about ready to fight. And I'm like, these people are crazy. Like, what am I doing here? And they're like, who are you? And I said, I'm Deana Baker. I'm Max's sister. I'm here to help, whatever. And they were like, well, what are you going to do? And I said, whatever. I don't know. So then Max and Brad are still arguing, and I'm just like, this is crazy.
What his mom got me into.
Yes. And so then they stop arguing, and then they're like, well, okay, I need you to do this. I need you to go through the list of paperwork was in a box of all of the people that had pre-registered, and they were supposed to get a packet.
She put it all together.
And I guarantee you, this was not alphabetized.
It was not alphabetized. And I said, do you guys have this on like a laptop? And they're like, no. And I'm like, oh my God.
They didn't even have it on a legal pad, did they?
No. So it was in a box. And I said, well, when do these people start picking them up? Tomorrow at noon. The pre-registration people are going to start picking their packets up.
And how many packets were you supposed to have?
A lot.
A lot. Like for 3,000 people.
Oh, wow.
But probably, I would say half of those people had pre-registered.
Because you got a shirt.
You got a shirt, you got a pen, you got a bag. And
Instructions, maps,
yeah, the
all
map,
that.
everything. And I'm like, well, is this put together? No. So we had to stay up all night putting all that together. And then I said, well, where are these people picking this up at? We're going to have a tent out there. It's going to be alphabetized. And you need to make sure that there's no
Casino
long
staff.
lines. And there's a cash line and a credit card line and then the pre-registration. But we don't want any lines. And I'm like, and I was just like, oh my God. Okay. Well, then somebody needs to get on a computer. Somebody needs to start data entering. And away we went.
On the fly.
On the fly. And I was just.
on the fly. But here's the thing. It came together as a team.
So what were you guys arguing about when she walked in?
Everything.
Right.
It got to the point where she sided with Brad. I thought, hey, my own sister came down here and sold me out.
That's awesome.
I listened to both sides, and then they said, okay, who's right? Nobody was really right. It was the fact that he made a lot
She
more
sided with
sense
him.
than what he was wanting to do, but that the end result, they got to the same point. It's just they got there differently.
That's how we did it for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean,
And so after that, you're like, man, I've chose the right profession. I want to get into this business. No.
No, because after the bike run, I thought I was done because the people all left and we did our part. And I thought, well, I'm good.
Well, we had hired these people that were supposed to run and have all this in the organization and everything. So when I brought her in with my mom, and this is where my mom really took it over as a champ and blessed me is when she came in, then she became the eyes to see what was messed up. And, she was like, you boys, after me and him had argued, she comes back and says, you boys are in trouble. Because the people that you've hired over here, they ain't done shit. And, and it's like.
I can see you, Max. What are you talking about?
Then I'm going, well, how can I help you? And how can we help? And she just, let me just do it this way. And, that like I had like Lisa and a couple other people that, were willing to, we switched roles. And if it was an all-nighter we had to do, that's what we had to do. But at the end of the day, we were in utter chaos from the word we stepped on the ground. But if you would have looked at it, looked at the whole big picture, you would have never known.
So could you have pulled this off if Deana hadn't showed up? Come on, Max.
Yeah, here's the thing. Here's the deal.
Say it.
Here's the deal. It would have been hard. Could I have, if you would have given me the team I was playing with, I would have been one and done. The thing about this is when she came into the picture, we became a little bit more professionalism with that. And what I mean by that is, had she, she's the one that helped me as far as when I was starting the labor company. Because you got to remember, I was fresh when when I went to Miami. I had nothing. I had a hope and a prayer. And that was it.